Hello there, in this video we're going to start making our checkbox component for our design system, so let's go. Okay, welcome back to the file. So let's scroll down and let's create a new page for our component. So let's click here, let's click on the plus and let's name this. Okay, so there we go, checkbox. Let's go in and steal a page's layout, so let's just use the text field for now. Just copy and paste that and lock it again. Let's come back here, press Command V, and let's just delete out what we don't need for the moment. So let's just delete that out. Okay, and let's update the page. Okay, there we go, that's updated. So the checkbox component lets users select one or multiple options from a set. All right, so let's go out onto the left-hand side and let's draw out a frame. There we go, this can be our testing area. So let's just put that as testing. Okay, let me just option click and drag and take out a copy of these states just for now. Okay, let's just jump into the research file and grab a copy of what we need from our wireframes. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's just unlock these for the moment, and let's just take the whole thing. There we go. Let's go back up and let's just lock those. Okay, I'll just close that for now, and let's just paste it in just here. Okay, so we have the checkbox itself here. That seems to be 16 by 16, and then we have the label to the right hand side. So pretty straightforward. What we need to do is build out the different states for the checkbox. So let me just option click and drag, and let's just bring it down to here. Okay, so down here on our states, what we're going to do, let me just remove placeholder, let me just remove error, success, and read only. So we've now got enabled, hovered, focused, disabled. Just need one more, so press Command D, and let me just rename that, and that's going to be pressed. Okay, so now we've got our core states. What I'm going to do is option, click and drag, because we do have a few different variants that we're going to be using. So the first one will be unselected. And let me just double click on the edge there. The second is going to be selected. There we go. Okay, and the third is going to be indeterminate. Okay, so we've got all our options here. What I'm going to do now is let's start with the unselected and let's work through the different states. Okay, before I start, let me just go to assets. Let me just type in radio, and let's just take a copy of the radio button component. Okay, so I'm just going to switch off the active and I'm just going to leave the state as enabled. So let's just go in here and let's see. So we've got neutral 600. So that's going to be what we use here. Neutral 600, and that will be 1 pixel. Okay, let's move on to the next state. So we've got hovered. So let's option click and drag. Let's bring that one down. Let's just have a look and see what hovered is here. Okay, so for hovered, the stroke is Sapphire 500, and let's just have a look at what the fill is. So that's Sapphire 50. Okay, that's great. Let's move down. Okay, let me just go from enabled. Let's option click and drag. Okay, so let's go over to focused. Okay, so for focused, we're using, I think we're using neutral, let's see. Okay, neutral 600. Now let's duplicate this. Let's zoom in, let's option shift, and let's just drag out ever so slightly. And I think this is going to be neutral 900, and that's going to be 2 pixels. I think I'm just going to adjust the appearance. Okay, for now I'll adjust the corners to 6. We can always come back if we need to adjust that later. Let's move down and let's go to disabled, and we're still on the unselected, so we option click and drag. Okay, let's select this. Let's go to disabled, and that's using, let's see, what is that using? Neutral 100, so that's fine. Let's use neutral 100, just align that as well. Okay, that's good. Let's go back up here, option click and drag, and put this next to pressed. And for the radio button, let's select pressed, and that is going to be Sapphire 400. So let's go in there, Sapphire 400. Okay, so that's the unselected states done, and I'll just pop this radio button up here. Okay, let's move on to the selected states. So let's start with the top one, so enabled. Let's option click and drag, bring this across. Now this is going to be selected, so let's have a look. So this is active, this is enabled, and what color are we using? So we're using Sapphire 500, so let's add that. Okay, let's get rid of the stroke. Now we're going to need a tick or a check icon, which I think we've got already. Let's just drag that out. That is a little bit large. So for now, let me just go in and let me just shrink that down. Let's try 8. And let's just switch tools, go back to the move tool. And let's change the color. And that'll be neutral 0. Okay, let's go with that for now. Might be a bit thin, but we can adjust that later. This is very much the testing area, so we're just trying to get all the different states and what we need in a rough format, so I think it's fine for now. Okay, let's go down to hovered, so let's option, let's click and drag. Let's bring that in there. Okay, let me go and steal this check from here. And let's see what hovered is like for this related component. So again, we're using Sapphire 500. What's the border? Yeah, that's also Sapphire 500. Okay, let's update that. Okay, let's move on to the focus state. Let's grab this, let's option, click and drag, put that down there. And now let's go in here, let's go back to our file, let's go back to our layers. Let me just steal this example. Let's just try that again. Steal that, pop it round there. Okay, so that'll be focused. And now let's go to disabled. So let's just steal this one. So option, click and drag. So what do we use here? We use neutral 100. So let's do that. So that's the stroke. Let's get rid of the fill. And let's go in here and do, where are we? Neutral 100 again as well. Let me just check if that's the case. Yes, I think we're using neutral 100 for everything. Yep. Okay, and last of all pressed. So let's go down here, let's go to pressed, and let's just drag that up a little bit. So we're using Sapphire 400. Just out of curiosity, let's bring the button in as well, just for reference. So it's primary, enabled, let's go to pressed. So we have a drop shadow on that, and yeah, we're using Sapphire 400. Okay, let me just steal the tick from there, and let's just create that so it's Sapphire 400. And also let me just add the background in as well. So where's the fill? So Sapphire 50. Okay, I think that's fine for now. Let's just move these over again. Okay, let's go to our indeterminate state. So let's go ahead and let me just option, well, let's just select that option, click and drag, bring that out. Now we don't want the check. Let me just go into our icons and let's just see, do we have a dash? Can't actually remember what we had before. Let's just open up the style guide file, just have a quick look at our icons, just see what we've got. So it's probably something we're going to need to include. So let's go here, go to actions, go to feather icons, and let's see if we can find something suitable. Okay, there we go. Clicked on that, that's the minus. Let's go in here, and what I will do is let me just take a copy up here, and let's just make a note that we're going to need a new icon. Just make this text red so it stands out. There we go, so we shouldn't forget that. Let's move those over. Okay, for now I'm just going to Command C, copy that, let's bring it over here, and let's just use the scale tool, hold shift, and let's just click and drag in. So I think we were going for, it was 8 pixels. Okay, let's pop that in there. Go here, let's just adjust this to neutral 0. There we go. Again, the stroke width, I'm not sure about it yet. Maybe we need to bump it up a little bit or make these slightly bigger. We can do that in a bit, it's no problem. Let's go on to, where are we next? Let's go on to our hovered state. Okay, so option, click and drag. Let's take these out. There we go. And let's just take a copy of that icon. Let me get rid of the check. Let me just double check the color. So it's Sapphire 500. So that's good, that's in there. Let's go on to focused. So let's take a copy of that top one. Let's click and drag. Let's go here. Let's just click on the edge, duplicate that. Let's just take a copy, move it over here. There we go. That can be focused. Disabled. Let's grab a copy of this one. Okay, so let's remove the background, and I'm pretty sure everything is neutral 100, so let's apply that. Okay, great, that's done. And last of all pressed, let's just option click and drag, bring that in. Let's delete that out. Let's paste this in. I think this is the icon. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's definitely it. What color are we using? Sapphire 400, so let's double check, that's 400. There we go, Sapphire 400. Okay, so now we've got everything in place. Let's look at creating a component with all these different states and different variants. Okay, that's it for part 1 of the video. Part 2 will be coming next week. So like and subscribe, add some comments, and I will see you in the next video.